Help Me See is a podcast that redefines the word vision through vulnerable and real conversations, my own private introspective ramblings about the things that I think about in the wee hours of the morning, and my deep core belief that your nothingness is your everything, and all you have to do is see. I'm Bianca Mora. I'm your host. I am an educator, a photographic artist, and I believe that your daily photo habit can be the key to unlocking the ability to be more present in your everyday life and live deeper into your intention and purpose. We're not about the small talk here. Grab your coffee, get cozy, and let's talk. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Help Me See. Today I am absurdly early for this contract job that I'm at. So I'm roaming around outside because the weather's beautiful, and I wanted to come on and talk about a hilarious quote-unquote coincidence. So this month in my membership Nostalgia Now, our intention, we set a monthly intention every month, and this month it is synchronicity, coincidence, meaning, all in that vein, and finding the places and spaces in your life, and just really more so being awake to them because they are present all of the time, and it's only with our application of assigning meaning to them that we take anything from it consciously. So, of course, for me, my biggest vehicle for being awake to and seeing these things that happen in our lives and making meaning and finding the common threads and being able to kind of access a version of hindsight in the now is through my photographic practice. Like, it's through, and when I say that, I mean literally just like the most low effort, just taking snapshots with my cell phone throughout my day. It's like as seamless as breathing for me. It's like it's something that I've built into like my consciousness just by over time letting myself know that taking out my phone doesn't mean that I'm not present. It's just an extension of me trying to engage with my life and be more present. And if that's something that you struggle with, let me put a pin in that right now. If that's something that you have a hard time with, if you feel like you can either be present in the moment or take photos and it's a choice, it's not both, feel free to DM me. It's a conversation I love having. I just feel like there's a lot of ways in which we have these conditions, these societal norms and things built into us that we don't really realize might not be helpful. And just hearing more about your thoughts around that might help open a different model of the world. So anyway, there's that. Feel free to DM me if that's something that comes up for you. So moving on. So hilariously, the intention for this month is all around synchronicity. And I had such an example of this today. Today, I had to take an Uber to work because I couldn't use my friend's car because she was going to the office. And usually I'm just such an audiobook or podcast junkie, or, I never don't have something to listen to in terms of like education and whatever else. But ever since I went to Sedona, I've just had this feeling of like, I don't need anything else. Like you need no thing. There's nothing that you need. And I was sitting there and I was like, I feel like it's just more important to connect with a person that I'm 2 feet away from in this car rather than learn something more in this moment. I love learning, but I don't need to right now. So I just started talking to this person. And the more we talked, the more synchronicity and coincidence came up. She was in law enforcement. My brother's in law enforcement. They had a similar thing happen to them in terms of getting hurt on the job in a violent way. And she had said something, she told me a story about her cousin who has created this business for herself, helping others. And I had asked her a question because it was something that felt so intuitive and honest and obvious to me about how, something that she could help other people with in this phase of her life. And after I asked her the question, she said, my goodness, I've never thought of that. I have to go home and think about this. I'm so grateful we had this conversation. And I had full body goosebumps because it's like, it's just like with time and human connection, just the most casual amount of attention and engagement and honesty with a person, and magic happens. Like, who knows what will come out of that on her end or on my end, but the seed is planted, right? And I believe that these little meaningful interactions that happen show up in powerful ways for the rest of our lives. Actually, I'm going to read you a card. So when I was in Sedona, I pulled a card at the end of this retreat situation where I was doing yoga, and it was like a healing session of sorts. And as like a way to end the session, she's like, I want you to think of an intention or a question or whatever, and then pull from the card and find your answer within that card if that resonates with you. And the card I got literally specifically had the question that I asked in my head inside the card, inside the explanation of the card. And I just burst out crying. It was so crazy. And it was all around synchronicities and meaning and being able to see the magic in that. And here, let me see if I can navigate away from this voice memo app and read at the same time. Let's see. No. Oh, I can. Okay. All right. So here we go. The card says, I'm sorry, I've taken like 4,000 pictures between now and back when I was doing this originally. Okay, here we go. The card was magic, number 33, magic. And it says, this symbol represents the infinite intelligence of Great Spirit that makes up the fundamental fabric of the universe. We experience the evidence of this magic through synchronicity or meaningful coincidence. When magic appears, you're invited to see the world through the eyes of wonder and awe, taking on the innocence of a child who knows that all things are possible. Infinite potential exists in the great mind, and you are being invited to call it in and recognize the dance in synchronistic events, signs, symbols, and omens given to you through the oracle of the ordinary world. This is a sign that Spirit is reminding you that you co-create your world in sacred partnership. Your part is to dream, to intend, and to watch for the signs that show you what next action to take. My question was, what next action do I take? Okay. Right now, it appears that you are on the right track to make your dreams come true. This Great Spirit is listening and acting on your behalf. Pay attention. Magic gives birth to miracles. And then it says, have you forgotten that you live in a world that is infused with magic? Perhaps you've become cynical and think you have to create the life all by yourself with no help from others. It's time to remember that your relationship to Source, for you, are a part of the story of the world. A living spark of spirit living on earth for this short time as an emissary of light. If you look back over your life, you will find many instances in which your actions alone were not the cause of out of the blue coincidences that led you to a new relationship, job, or other important moment of your journey. So how do you stay in this awareness? This is something I struggle with. This answer is simple. If you can be as a little child and cultivate that wondrous curiosity, you will see the magic again and be amazed. Remember, magic is real and in everything. Okay, so I am reading this to you because if you are a listener of this podcast, I know that you will feel something from that. And and something that I want to pull out of there is how sometimes we label coincidences as, or we belittle them in a way that, oh, I'm getting a little carried away, or, oh, but I'm making too much of this. It's just a coincidence. It's like, what is this compulsion to downplay something that gives us life? Something that, is it a fear of like feeling too much in our life? Like, is it a fear of, what does it mean if this is something significant for me? Like, and why are you trying to push that down or push it away? It's something we all do. So my photo practice and the way that I love to encourage others to explore taking pictures of their lives is, in fact, the idea that these visual breadcrumbs and honoring our impulse to take a picture, no matter if we know why or why not, or, whatever, that we're taking the picture, it's so that we can engage deeper in that moment, but we're also leaving that visual breadcrumb to happen upon later. Like, how many times have you had a time hop or something, or that comes up and they're like, this day, blah, blah, blah. And it's popped up and really impacted you or surprised you or made you realize something, or inspired you to look at something else. Like, sometimes we can feel like our whole life is how we feel in the last 2 weeks. And I know that to be true because every month when we do our meeting in Nostalgia Now, we look at all the photos that we took in that 1 month. And every time I get to the first half of the month, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was still the same month? Feels like another lifetime ago. So building in like an active meditation, using a modality helps support us in seeing more and therefore creating more consciously a life that lights us up. And with that, I want to also recommend, so after I got that card, I was a mess. I was like in shambles crying. The teacher, she recommended a Deepak Chopra book that I'm now reading as well. It's called, here, I recommended it on my thread in the Facebook group as well. It is called The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire, Harnessing the Infinite Power of Coincidence. So I'm listening to it right now on Audible, but it's really kind of intense because he goes into like the science of it as well. And I need to highlight and underline and take it in visually. So I think I'm gonna have to order the book as well. But if this conversation intrigues you, then please feel free to join me in reading that book. I'm not even done with it yet. Anyway, and what I find so funny about all of this too is that all of the same things could be happening, and I could think nothing of it, or I could be less emotional about it, or less excited about it, and just be like, well, just take it as very matter of fact. But like, who does that serve? And moreover, I actually believe that if I wasn't awake to the coincidence and like seeing the synchronicity and the thread between all of these little events, would that mean that I would see them at all? Or would I be missing it? You know, it's like that exercise that my coach had done with us one time. Haley Carr said, okay, I'll do it here now, actually. It's like, for the next 5 seconds, I want you to look around and see everything around you. Count how many things that are yellow. Go. Okay, stop. How many things around you are purple? And don't look. You know, we delete what we're not looking for. We find what we're searching for. We will always find evidence of what we believe to be true, whether it's good and quote unquote good, whether it's what we want or what we don't want but believe. So what might happen if, instead of downplaying your joy and second guessing the significance you're placing on a coincidence or a synchronicity, what if you just let yourself overflow with whatever feeling comes up for finding that synchronicity in your life? In my experience, in just being awake to it for the last couple of weeks, I have made so many more connections. And, you know, there's plenty of other examples that I have of realizing significance and synchronicity in my life. And a lot of them are due to the photographs that I take, because for me, photography is a way to access my deeper consciousness anyway. And it is, and I feel like my memory is not so grand, and it really helps to keep those little nuggets of wisdom alive in my life by, you know, leaving that little visual marker. So I kind of feel like I've rambled for the last 20 minutes, but I'm going to trust that there was something in there that you needed to hear. And now, as you go off and into your day or finish your day or whatever it is that you're doing, maybe do a little experiment. Maybe the next time you see something that sparks something in you that you relate to something else, take a picture. Take a picture, write a note, just track it in some way and see how much comes up when you're looking for magic in your life. I would love to hear what you find. Feel free to message me. Also, if you are interested in my Nostalgia Now membership, where this is something that we build into our every single day life, and we meet once a month, we are a very intimate group, and I feel so grateful for that space. So if this is something that you would like accountability with and something that you want to build into your life, because I mean, personally, if I don't have someone to do something with, sometimes I just let it fall to the wayside. So if you're looking for support or added support in this area, feel free to check out my link in the show notes about the membership, or let me know if you have any questions. I'm also hosting, coming up when I get back in town, a visioning workshop. We will touch on this. And this is just a one-time workshop situation, and we can simmer in this magical soup of coincidence and synchronicity and creating a life that we want to live through our ability to see it, because it's already here. Okay, I've gone woo enough for you at this point in time. It's only 8:30 in the morning for me, so I need more coffee before I can spew any more magical nuggets into the world. I'm fresh out of nuggets. Okay. Have a great rest of your day. Catch you next time.
If you enjoyed this episode and want to get in on actual conversations with me, join the Help Me See podcast private Facebook group. Every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be hopping on live for Q&A on the latest episode and for free consulting if you need a bit of help thinking about ways to save your memories. Did you get something out of this episode? I really, really, really hope you did, and I would love to hear from you. I'm on a mission to empower you to feel peace knowing that you are not missing your life. One of the best ways that you can support me is leaving a review, and honestly, I'd rather hear about the memory you saved because of this podcast rather than any kind of accolade. Tell me how this podcast has impacted you, and 1, I'll probably cry. And 2, I'd love to give you a shout out on the show. Take a minute and head out to the link in the bio to write a review now on the podcast.